Alright, so I'm standing out here at my my 750 no-till drill. This machine was built somewhere in the 80s, like 1987, 88, 89, something to that effect. The reason I know that is because of the serial number being so incredibly low. Is that 837? I think 38, 34 is the break for early and mid design 750s. Well, this 750, these drills are really pretty much bulletproof as far as the frames and everything else are concerned. The fluted metering systems, they're good. They don't ever go bad as long as you take care of them and make them so that they move back and forth just fine and they're free. That works. So what do we do with a worn out drill? And I mean a worn out drill. These closing wheel arms, closing wheels are all missing. What I did with this drill the last few years was just put seed in the ground. Grass seed in the ground. Get that grass seed in the ground. So, if I can fit my fat ass through here, it's pretty tight. Got a flat tire, This is my old corn planter. You can see that most of the closing wheel gizmos are gone. These closing wheels arms are so shot. Look at this. There is so much play in there. Well, RK Industries actually sells a repair for this thing, okay? And I have every intention of buying the R&K system to put on here. I just got done spending about $10,000 on complete rebuild kits. Complete rebuild for this. Seed boots, seed tubes, seed. These rubber tubes here, these will be replaced with plastic ones. Yes, plastic ones that will go down to a rubber boot that goes to the seed tubes, all that. Firming wheels, bushings, bearings, you name it, it will be replaced on there. The only thing that I haven't purchased to replace are these closing wheel arms, because I was not 100% sure what the deal was, what model I had. So some of the mid series 750s still had a welded pin that goes through there, and you know, so what? You got a welded pin that goes through there, right? Well, it's not so much so what. It is, they were a straight hole that you could put a bushing in. And you put that bushing in, and then you could do just the one that had a hole and a bolt through it, whereas this is the original 750. So I have got a lot of work to do. Not only do I have to replace of course I greased the shanks, or whatever you want to call those, the mounts of frog, I guess you would call that. I've greased all that stuff religiously throughout. I'm gonna go ahead and just rebuild everything that I've got on there, because it's still no-till straight in. And hold on a second, I got somebody calling me that I don't want to talk to. You know, it's like Saturday. Well, hopefully it doesn't call 911. I had that happen the other day. Hit the button, I think, called 911. Yeah, so new gauge wheels. I have to put a bunch of new gauge wheels on there because a lot of them are just shot. I didn't buy all new gauge wheels. I wanted to buy new tires, but the tires aren't available through Shoops at this point. They're on back order. I ordered some halves, a whole bunch of springs that are on back order, but that's what's coming. That is coming. This mount here, what the hell they call that thing? I want to call it a trunnion. I think they call that a trunnion, but whatever, where it mounts to the hydraulic cylinder there, the pivots to the hydraulic cylinders there. That had broke a few years back, and I half-assed it back together, and you know, it's okay, but I should probably do a little better repair job on it. It has lasted probably 10 years that way, but we weren't doing intense stuff. So since I'm going to be doing a lot of no-tilling this year and from now on, I just want to get everything where it needs to be, like the corn planter. Got new spiked closing wheels for the corn planter because I'm going to be planting through old hay fields and start on the process of this carbon farming, I guess you want to call it, or regenerative agriculture. I'm not going to be the nut that says, oh, I'm going to go 100% and I won't have to put any nutrients down. I'm just going to go so I can cut my fertilizer bill in half with this, or even more if I can. And if I do see the results that I hope to see, then maybe I will go that route, but I'll never be organic. I will always use sprays and stuff like that. To me, there's no point in suffering for the greater good, because nobody really gives a flying fart about us. If I was to say, hey, I'm going to go all organic and no longer use sprays and stuff and market my stuff as organic, there is a few years in there where you will be like, is this really worth it? And it takes 3 years to become organic. I am not doing that. There's no way. I'm just going to do a hybrid of regenerative and conventional, because we have no-till for many years here, and I kind of got away from it. And I did get away from it. I didn't want to do no-till because just the way the soils are and what I was doing with my compost. I know that if I put compost on standing hay as I kill it, before I kill it, I put it on, and then that will hold the compost and allow the compost tea to go into the soil, which will give it a kick in the ass to go, to get in there and do its thing. I'm okay with that. Soybean ground, man, I really want to work that stuff in and just start anew. But I don't know. It's still debatable. I know my dad is like, oh, you got to work it in. You got to work it in. Well, yeah, you do have to work it in. But the problem is when you work it in, you throw a lot of things out of balance. And I know what it's like to throw things out of balance. And quite honestly, we have done regenerative ag in the past. We just didn't realize. Let me get over here. We just really didn't realize that we were doing it, to be honest with you. We were putting down a lot of lime and human waste. It was a composted, well, not composted, it was a combined product. We called it Joe's shit for years and years, but it was fly ash and human waste, and it was like 20% human waste and 80% lime, and you put 4 or 5 tons of that to the acre. You could do that for several years as long as you didn't, no, it was 20% lime, 80% human waste. Yes, 20% lime, 80% human waste. So you could put astronomical amounts of this stuff to the acre, 10, 15, 20 tons. And when we were doing that, God, the hay grew really good, the corn and soybeans grew really good. We were no-tilling through this stuff, through the previous crop. We never really did put the cover crops on. We did wheat and rye, but we would normally cut that off, bale it, and then drill through it, and then we wouldn't put rye back in the next year. Same thing with wheat. We would just let it lay fallow there and then put rye in after the wheat the following fall. That's how we did it. And it really did us very well in that kind of a messed up thing. And I do remember a lot of hay fields that we put that stuff on, and it just kicked them into gear, and then as the pH is dropped and the microbial activity slowed or died off, it really hit us in the wrong way with hay. So that's why I'm putting lime on. I'm putting a lot of lime on. I'm putting it on hay ground. I'm putting it on ground that's going to be corn, ground that's not going to be corn and beans. I'm putting lime on everything to get those pHs up so that things are healthier. And I'll take you along on that trip as we go. I hate the regenerative journey. It's not a journey, it's just a way of doing things. And there's a bunch of people out there that are talking about this and doing it, and they're kind of newbies in it, and they're telling you how it has to be done. Well, I think every farm and every place is different, and I think that the system or the ecological part of it can be modified as long as you continue with the covers and you feed those microbes in a manner that they stay active even in the times that there's not particularly a living root in the ground. There should always be a living root in the ground with the regenerative system. But there is going to be times that you can't, and there's that secret sauce I keep talking about, which will definitely cause beneficial bacteria and microbial activity in the soil because it makes it healthy. So that's another thing with the compost as well. But anyways, the guy that I would listen to is David Brandt. David Brandt is an old guy. He's my dad's age. He's in his 70s. He's been doing this since the 1970s, like 71 and on. And he's like the leader in this whole thing. He didn't know he was a leader in it. He just felt that it was a better way of doing it, to mimic Mother Nature. Because as much as human beings would like to say that we can beat Mother Nature, no. You just prolong the inevitable. Mother Nature is going to win. Whether it puts you out of business due to input costs rising to try to compensate for what you're taking away from Mother Nature, because she'll kick you out of the program. She will. Anyway, there you go.